Lovely, Lostariel.
I thank you. It's certainly an acquired taste for outsiders. We had quite an adventure, didn't we?
We did. I'm happy we came to the resolution we did in the end. My near-death experience put things in perspective for sure.
Yes, and my mother's death for me as well.
I'm still so sorry.
I know you are. It's obviously not your fault. But hopefully the others have fared just as well as we have, if not better.
I kind of miss them, even though I've only met them a few times. I kind of miss them.
I suppose I do as well.
Okay. You guys start heading down the road. Your pack horse kind of following along beside you, eager to be out from under the woods and to be along the open road. The sun continues to rise above you, and you see Lake Town in the beauty of the morning light, the sun reflecting off the water. There's still along the ground, under the thickest parts of some of the trees that stand scattered in the area, bits of snow hanging on to the last of winter, and likewise in the long lake you see small parts of floating ice that's just the refusing of the lake to allow spring to touch it. From the hill where you stand, as you start coming down, you can already see that Lake Town is very busy at this time of morning. There's a steady stream of people starting to come in through the gates and to wait right there in the market square before entering the toll house. Meanwhile, under the thatched roof of the toll house, a small fire burns in the fireplace, allowing those who stay inside have a drink while they allow the warmth to sink in. Casting away the cold spring breeze that travels across the lake in the early morning hours, already numerous tradesmen and merchants have crossed through the gate. They linger only long enough to double-check that their goods are hitched to the back of their wagons before they enter the toll house and pay their fee for Lake Town. Your journey here had been short and easy in comparisons to the dangers you had faced down the running river. As you walk along the bridge to Lake Town, a large boat catches your eye, its mass stretching above those of the water. It has looked as though it's been prepped for a long journey. And while it is still twilight when you had arrived, there is no mistaking the sense of importance that the ship was setting out for the dock. The busy pace of Dale is reflected in those who come to the trade in the city. Despite the constant movement through the toll house, a few weary travelers sit at the side by the fireplace and drinks in hand, a small plate of fish and potatoes steaming in front of them. Two of them are large, muscular-looking warriors, well-seasoned, and the third, a small hobbit woman in bright colors. Their doors leading out to the gatehouse in view, allowing them to watch for anyone that passes. It's been months since you have last met in Esgaroth, the place where your adventure began. And with that, Odo and Tealia and Dunbeorn.
So, Odo, what I was saying is, for your house, I really think we should go with the blue curtains. I just, the wood, I think it really just goes, well, so much together. The wood, it's a bit darker. It's like an oak. I think the blue would go with it, really.
Well, you certainly have a taste for styles.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she'll decorate my house as well.
I'd be happy to, but I'm not an expert. I just think your awnings are barbaric. No curtains, no rugs. You need some homeliness around.
We're based more on functionality than anything else.
That is exactly the problem. have to learn to live a little bit. Eat a few more scones, a few more honey cakes wouldn't do you much bad eating.
Well, you know I do like your honey cakes.
That I do as well.
So we're going with the blue curtains then.
With Dunbeorn, absolutely.
You know what? I'll take it.
All right. Farmon, son of Fairfax, walks along the path leading from Dale to Laketown. The bells continue to ring in your departure. The walls of Dale bear dozens of guards and warriors who moment ago cheered at your departure. The weight of the sword of King Bane pulls on your belt. Beside you, a black-haired raven walks, silent and solemn, lost in her thoughts. Though only a short distance away, the breeze quickly starts to cool as you get closer to the lake. Over the houses, you see a mast of the large ship that the king has had built for you and your comrades, given to you for your journey to Rune to see what is happening and if aid can be given. As you reach the bridge that leads to the city, you notice not far ahead of you 2 elves that have become a familiar sight. They lead a horse with some small provisions on it. They stand a head taller than most that are pushing and bustling to get to the toll house. The sky speaks of a beautiful day, and though you are not a fisherman, you take note that the red sky and make note that delaying may prove to be a rougher start.
So we're rolling into Esgaroth through the down the river, yeah?
Yeah, you are walking along the road from Dale to Esgaroth. Raven is beside you, and you notice Lostariel and Issel in front of you.
And it's morning?
It is morning, yes.
All right. Farmon turns to Raven and says, "Fortune smiles upon us. Look, 2 of our party have already arrived."
She kind of comes out of whatever thought she has been having, and she looks ahead and she says, yes, the elf girl that left me to die and the companion that I barely know. Perhaps they will prove to be as different as you yourself were, Farmon." And at that, you've taken over the 6 months that you've spent with her. That is a compliment on the fact that you are not who she originally thought you were.
Farmon just sort of Farmon just sort of gives her a sideways look, like he wishes she wouldn't be like that. And,
Like the Cersei glance.
And he just takes the horse that he's the laden horse that he's leading and walks on, and as they approach, he'll hail the elves with his arm in the air. "Hail, Lostariel, Issel."
My Govanen. Look, Issel. It's Farmon and Raven.
She, at you saying her name, she kind of just like nods her head.
It's lovely to see friends again.
Indeed.
Whenever they're, whenever they've met, when they're within, easy speaking distance, Farmon will look them up and down and ask, "How was your journey to Rivendell?"
Eventful. Well, Rivendell perhaps not so eventful, but we ended up detouring to Mirkwood for a mission of sorts.
Very important one.
He looks as though he's considering asking, but he decides not to press the point, and instead directs attention to the ship that is floating along beside them off the bank. And say, "Well, our stop in Dale was productive. I believe things went very well."
Did you find any new support for Raven's cause.
Raven kind of shoots a look at Farmon and says, "Despite what I thought of Farmon here, he proved most promising in getting the king's attention and the attention of a few females as well." And at that, she kind of smirks.
Oh?
Lostariel just looks like she does not want to know.
Farmon looks like he does not want to tell.
We're in agreement.
If only they knew.
Ignorance is bliss.
Dave, does this ship have a name? Has it?
The ship has not been given a name, and it's floating alongside by the docks, but you can, as you're walking along the bridge, the toll house and the gatehouse actually starts to cover it up. This is a massive boat. It's 90 feet long, which makes it one of the largest boats on Long Lake. And
Maybe Titanic.
Yeah, you also see that it's not the standard design that you would expect from Lake Town. It looks more like it was built for venturing on the seas. More than likely, you can guess that they got the plans from somewhere else, which would explain the delay of 6 months in order to build it.
It's like when you buy a T-shirt and you want to get like a medium, but you accidentally get like the double XL. I was really
How do
So I'll just wear it to sleep in it. It's fine.
How do you do that?
It happens.
So Farmon sort of indicates the ship and says, "We've been given the full support of Dale in our mission."
Indeed. Well, we happen to have the blessing of King Thranduil as well.
That brings a smile to his face, though a subtle one. Have you seen the Bjornings?
Not yet. Do we have any kind of agreement to meet up here at some point?
No. You guys...
So this is just... we don't even know if they're there.
Fortune smiles upon us.
We're just there by coincidence, apparently. Because
Fancy.
We're acting very casual about this.
It's one of those things that happens in Middle Earth and nobody nobody worries about it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, what's her name did return from Dale down to us to tell us that the band was supposed to get back together.
Oh yeah, that's right.
what was her name again? Was it Grimwyn?
Grimwyn.
Yeah, there we go.
Morning.
Yes.
That's
With a lovely backstory that still scares me.
I mean, the toll house is the most likely place for you to meet, as you cannot get into Esgaroth without going through the toll house.
Well, let's go into Esgaroth.
Sounds like the right idea.
You pass through the massive gates, and there's actually 2 guards standing on each side, and they're just kind of watching the merchants as they pass by. They don't really fear an attack or anything, or any kind of hostilities. So it's kind of lackadaisical. They're just kind of going through the motions of guarding. Though you do catch their eye, as elves normally do not come here that often, except when trading wine. And obviously the 2 women do not have a large wagon behind them or anything, but they allow you to cross. You enter into the large area, and you notice all the merchants kind of checking their wares before they go through the toll house. And actually, Tealia, Odo, and Dunbeorn, you would be able to see them through where you are sitting, that they are now in the open area.
I'll elbow Odo and be like, "Hey, look at that."
Oh, look at that. Looks like the band is back together.
It's a sight for sore eyes.
Can we see them?
Look, there's 2
You can
7-foot tall.
Yeah, you can see 2 massive people. Telia's kind of hard to make out.
Can I make an athletics check to see if I can climb on to one of their backs?
Yeah, of course.
I like the idea that they're just like drinking and like, hey, look, yep, there they are, and just never do anything about it.
Go ahead and make a athletics check.
Oh boy.
Oh, we would totally do that.
First roll.
First roll.
Yes, first roll of the night.
Don't let us down. You did not.
Okay. So for those of you watching, standard TN is 14 for passing, and he will roll a D12 plus D6 equal to how well he is trained in athletics. So
11.
11. So you kind of get up and like you kind of wave your hands, but in the process of doing that, you kind of like knock some of the plate, like one of the fish actually falls onto the floor. But
Where are you trying to
that's
climb
a
up
real
on
tragedy.
anyway?
they do notice you. Like they see you now along with the Bjornings in your bright dress and blouse.
So we're outside and they're inside?
Yes.
Okay.
I give a gesture like, come on over.
We
Drinks.
we go on over. We head that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
You enter into the toll house, and you're just met with that warm heat from the fireplace, and the slightly cool breeze cuts off, and it starts to the warmth just starts to sink into your bones as you kind of push your way through those, trying to get through the toll gate to the other end and meet up with your comrades.
When they get close enough, if Farmon's close enough, Odo will stand up, kind of wipe his face when he's been drinking, and then with the other hand, kind of present it to Farmon, to kind of like give like a grasp of the arms, kind of like a hello. Well, Farmon, receive your message. I assume everything's well and everything's prepared, yeah?
That's right. Everything should be ready to go. Quick departure. I'll have to meet with the captain and see that provisions are stored. But I'm glad that you've arrived on time.
Well, we try to be punctual when we can.
Who's we?
Well, I mean, Dunbeorn and Tealia are with me as well, of course.
They're not Bjornings as a race.
What?
It's not important.
Here.
Yes, I am good to go when ready. And it's nice to see the rest of you as well.
Lovely to see you as well.
Yeah,
Take it
I'm happy
your
to.
Yuletides were good.
Oh, was it Yule? I didn't even notice. My mother died, actually.
Oh, well,
Oh,
sorry.
Indeed, it wasn't the best holiday.
no.
We had our vengeance, didn't we?
Yes, we had holiday vengeance.
The way the elves celebrate holidays.
And
Dropping
what
that
what exactly did you guys do then?
Oh, we just hunted down the band of orcs that had killed her
Started a fire.
in the
What
woods.
Well, that is good. That is the Bjorning way, hunting down our foes who wrong us.
I did that when those orcs killed my parents. So,
It seems like we have something in common then.
indeed.
Anyway, enough about me. How was your trip?
Oh, we also fixed your bow, remember?
Oh, that's right. Yes, Issel was so kind as to repair my bow. She takes off her bow, and what would it look like differently now?
It looks pretty much like it did before, except running the whole length of it is just this very fine hairline crack. She did a great job restoring it, but there's no way to really polish out that crack as it's split straight through.
But you can't tell that it's enchanted or anything?
No.
Anyway, it's enchanted.
Just like my axe.
So,
And I did get my bracelet back.
Is that right?
no.
My gosh.
Wait, did that actually happen?
No.
Wait.
Yeah, you
Wait,
notice on-
am I missing
notice on
something?
you notice on Telia's wrist a familiar bracelet, which previously, 6 months ago, she had pulled off and put on the dead little girl, hoping that it would revive her.
No context.
I actually,
Wait, so,
I will
so
say,
she's
I don't
actually
know that.
wearing the
I don't know
bracelet.
Yeah, she is actually wearing the bracelet.
Can I roll
Again?
something?
I mean, it's your choice to
I just-
roll.
I want to see if there's anything, any of the darkness about her that there was when she had the bracelet on.
Roll lore.
Would I be able to roll as well?
Yes. So for those of
I
you
do have
watching,
shadow lore, by the way.
that will help. I'll allow you.
So do I.
So
Oh yeah.
for those of
Hey.
you watching,
Oh.
Oh.
I did
Look at
not
my
see
roll.
what you
That is an awesome roll.
Once again, Lostariel
Okay.
is just on fire.
What
So-
does the rune mean? For
What
people
does-
in the street?
So the Gandalf rune, which you see, is a 12, which means it's an automatic pass. She will, no matter what on a test, you pass. As an 11, which is an eye marker, is an automatic fail. Unlike in D&D, characters choose if they want to take a test. So she called for a lore test. So what you know, along with your study of shadow lore, is it appears whatever taint had been on this bracelet has been removed. And Issel, you can sense this as well. You really didn't interact with Tealia much when she had the bracelet before. You can feel that there was some property of evil in it, but that it has been removed, and it's actually safe. There's no taint or lingering of the shadow on it.
Oh, that's good.
It
It
looks
looks
very
like
nice
a
on you.
lovely. Yeah, it's a lovely bracelet.
I mean, it always has been. I'm not sure why you guys were so against it.
Don't play dumb. It's not attractive.
Odo, no. Dunbeorn just kind of gives that Cersei glance at Lostariel.
We've had many discussions about the bracelet, and you know exactly why I didn't like it. So
So
it
Dave,
seems fine
what,
now.
what do we need to do before we're ready to go? What?
I'm just a little sassy.
So Tealia just kind of fiddles with that, and the bracelet is actually the body of a wolf, kind of like with its head as the opening part. She just kind of fiddles with it as you guys continue to make comments on it, much as you have since she acquired it. But with the band together, you actually notice that the place is starting to clear out. Most of the merchants, even in the short few minutes that you've been greeting each other, have traveled through paying their tolls to enter into the city. And so you're kind of left by yourself.
Are we that loud and disruptive that everyone's just...
No, it's more there are merchants wanting to go about their business, and the toll house is literally, other than the few tables for people who have traveled a long way, it's literally you pay your money to enter into the city to be able to sell your wares. So
Oh. And what time of day is it?
it's early morning. The sun's just started to rise. It's no later probably than 8 o'clock.
So yeah. What all do we need to do to get this show on the road?
Everything. So when you left, Dale, the King Bane, basically told you that everything is being taken care of by Lef, who is the new High Merchant of Laketown.
EFF.
Lef, who replaced Joff, the previous merchant of Laketown, after it was discovered that he was dealing with Rune in trading and actually trying to help foster a preemptive invasion from there. So after
Wait.
Yep.
I mean, that's not the
Laugh
worst.
and Jeff?
stuff.
You mean Dave? You mean Gerald?
Sorry,
Okay.
Gerald.
Gerald, yeah.
I don't have my previous notes in front of me. Gerald, who attacked the king after it was discovered he was helping Rune with a preemptive attack on the Wilderlands. And so he has been instilled, and King Bane basically told you that he is taking care of everything. The horses you requested, the food, everything that you wanted has been provided and is being loaded at the docks as you speak.
Are there draft horses that can be used for the Bjornings? Because,
That depends, Farmon. Did you explain that 2 Bjornings were coming with you?
Yeah, I'm sure Farmon would have been pretty particular about the preparations. He probably would not have been very comfortable letting somebody else handle it. So he's probably been sticking his nose in as much as he can. It's probably pissed Jeff off a bit.
Yeah, left.
My bad.
Left.
Sorry.
It's okay. Left. So yeah, you know that you have more than enough provisions. Like this boat is more than big enough for the few of you taking it, and they have provided enough food, a couple sets of horses, so if you need to ride hard, you're able to do so. Food for the horses to last you guys several months, even though the journey is actually only a couple of weeks to the Sea of Rune, and so more than adequately supplied.
Now before we set out, did what specifically? What were the instructions that Farmon received from the king? It was basically just a recon mission, right? Go see what's going on, and do what you can to protect.
Your instructions from King Bane is to help Raven to kind of look into anything that is happening and act within your wisdom. If you think that it is going to help in preventing the East from any plans that they might have.
Okay.
So basically just everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's given you, I mean, the sword he gave you his sword. So you basically act as his envoy, and so he's given you the authority to make the calls that you feel are necessary for the safety of Dale and the people of Netherlands.
That's okay. Cool. In that case, while we've got the party together, Farmon will address them and say, "Since we're all here, I don't see any reason in delaying our departure any more than is necessary. I recommend we all conclude any business that we have in Esgaroth, and tomorrow, at first light, we'll set out. Agreed?"
Yes.
Agreed.
I am good with
Right.
this.
Right down to business, huh? All right. Count me in.
Raven nods as well, and she says, if that is what the company wishes. And she kind of walks over to Odo and puts her hand on his arm softly and says, "It's good to see you again, my friend. I'm glad that your time of rest proved most useful. I hope that you were able to come to peace with some of the disturbing events."
I thought we were going to be boating this episode, but it turns out we're shipping instead.
Hey, while we're doing that, why not have Farmon's ex-girlfriend coming here now?
Well, that would be a lot of work for me.
Hey, I got it. No.
We're
So,
done.
But
That's done.
there's always next year. No, Odo will respond. Sorry, Grayson. Odo will respond like, Yes, it was a good break. It was good enjoyment. Much merrymaking. It was good. Thank you.
So, I guess that night they're going to have some sort of council together. They're going to hold some sort of meeting to be like, hey, this is the plan. This is what we're doing, just so everyone's on board and on level. You know, let's keep all this above board. We're going to Rune, and we're gonna fight the Shadow, right? Can we do that?
Yeah. So
I don't have any other plans.
You got me for gigs. I ain't got any other plans.
Oh yeah, we should go back to our favorite restaurant.
Yeah, with the endless pretzel.
Hey.
The Olive Garden.
Yes.
okay. So you guys
Accurate.
Hashtag lore accurate.
you go towards the door into Esgaroth proper, and the man that's standing there with a rather large box just kind of looks at Farmon, and noticing the sword of King Bane, kind of looks at the rest of the group and nods, allowing you to pass without paying the toll to enter in. You then walk along the different planks until you get to a familiar restaurant where you had all met once before, that is famed within Lake Town itself for having endless breadsticks and salad and soup.
I'm going to be
Most of
explaining
us.
to Issel what this is as we
because-
walk.
So
Most of
there's
us were here, but not.
endless salad.
Endless. It never ends.
Where did they get all the salad? I'm so confused.
It's just one of the wonders of the world.
I suppose.
So upon you entering in again, they kind of the one waitress kind of looks at you and it's like, I think I've seen you here before. Yes. One of you didn't pay last time. And,
We got rid of him, don't worry.
And
It's okay. We took care of it. Okay.
And we're happy to cover the bill this time, retroactively.
They're all just gonna point at Farmon, like it's on him. That's your man.
The one
Start
with the
name
gold
dropping.
sword.
she looks at you and she says, well, very well. What exactly can I get you today? Please sit yourself at any of these tables. It's kind of dead right now, as it is only 9:30 in the morning.
Okay.
Early drinks.
Odo finds a seat.
Endless mimosas as well.
Oh, now that's
Oh yes.
something I
Endless.
completely understand.
Speaking her language now.
The waitress kind of looks at each of you and remembering especially Tealia, who had worked at for some point in Lake Town, addresses her and says, what will your group be having?
Tealia is going to officially go through the menu.
Yes.
It's only a one-page menu.
Somehow
Go
she
through
found
several
out
menus.
more
make sure
more
they're all the
menus.
same.
Keep turning it around.
She got
Yes,
she got
it's
menus from like
full
other
up.
establishments and just put them together.
Well, there's the endless pasta bowls. Actually, I haven't been to Olive Garden in like 7 years.
They don't
So-
have endless pasta.
No, they did.
It's
7
only a
years ago.
seasonal option, guys.
But in
Yeah.
Esgaroth, they do.
Soup and salad.
Soup and salad. Well, let's just
So-
yeah. Okay.
Go on. We order food.
Yeah, let's just start with
Okay.
drinks.
She comes back with the various foods that you order. She puts the breadsticks on, and looks about the group and she says, I'm actually quite proud that we did not run out of breadsticks. As again, it's only 9:30 in the morning. But if you want anything else, I have been informed that it is all being covered by King Bane himself. So please feel free to help yourselves.
Oh yes.
Good.
Interesting.
Can I just get a few apples? That'd be good.
Yes, we have apples that yes. And she just kind of like walks around, going to grab whatever apples she can find, as it is early spring. So these are apples that have been somehow brought all the way up from Gondor, where it tends to be warmer during the summer, and they can continually grow fruit like that. And she brings out, and they're kind of small. They're like not that big apples. And she sets about 5 or 6 in a bowl in front of you.
Thank you. I need to start searching.
So
I'll take one.
let's call our meeting to order. We'll bang the upturned cup on the table
Farmon.
and look around, and then he'll actually turn to Raven and say, "All right, we're all here. We're ready to assist you. What should be our first course of action? You know the territory better than any of us."
Well, I think the first course is actually going to be the salad and the breadsticks.
She shoots a look at the Hobbit, who 1 second, let me roll for her.
We're not talking about that kind of course, Tealia.
She looks at the Hobbit, who she suspects stole stuff from her when they last were at her home. And
wait, did she?
I'm pretty sure she did.
Yeah, she basically stole all her medicine supplies.
I kind of blocked all the beginning of this out.
So she shoots a look at the Hobbit, not really touching her, since she basically wiped her clean of everything that was valuable in her establishment as a herbalist. And
Oh,
she says,
God, yeah, she did. Now I'm remembering that.
When she went shopping.
Yeah, the Hobbit went shopping, then stole from the herbalist. And so she turns and she says, "Well, to be truthful," and she kind of like rubs her hair, the back of her head, "I've never actually been to Rune. I was raised in Gondor. My family is wanted by Kamul and those that rule there, and so in best interest of possibly allowing the line of Halman to again take the throne, they brought me out in secret, and I was raised. So I think," and she kind of like lowers her head, and for a moment, she has this pained expression on her face. It's like when someone gets a severe migraine. And it kind of deepens, and her brow like lowers, and finally she looks up with this pained expression on her face, and she says, "There are perhaps 2 places that would be safe. One of them I'm not quite sure of. It's a shot in the dark, but there is an old dwarven hold that were allies to my people, and it's possible that they are still there, though it's been so long since anyone has heard of them." And if you look at the map that's been provided, she says it's called Zarum Azan. It was one of the strongest dwarven holds in the land of Rune, and the other the other I don't really know about, but perhaps the elves. There is an elven nation there. They keep to themselves, and from what I understand, and she kind of closes her eyes and rubs her temple. From what I understand, only merchants travel there, and only to the border. But perhaps in in secrecy, we would be able to move from there. Those are the two blessed places that I can think of from the knowledge that I have. And with that, she kind of like slumps back into her seat, and after a couple minutes, the pained expression leaves her face, and she just looks worn out at this point.
Here's a tissue. Here's a handkerchief.
She takes it and kind of pats her forehead as she's actually slightly sweating.
That was actually me trying to sneeze less loud than usual.
Oh, I thought that was a dog barking.
I also thought that was dog barking.
No.
Such a judgment. Blame the pooch.
So, Dave.
Yes.
Dave, what was the last part? Because when Quill sneezed, it kind of shook me.
That's power.
The last part was that there is a elven nation there, and merchants travel to the border but never go in, and perhaps she thinks that you would be able to go there in secrecy and perhaps get some kind of help, but she's not really sure. Can you roll? Those of you who are interested can roll an insight check on her.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. I will look.
He's interested while he's eating.
Let me get my sheet.
And Lostariel, for that last roll, you can actually fill in your third dot for your advancement point for the Gandalf rune that you got.
Okay, not bad. Not bad.
Okay, you.
Okay.
What's that? Lore? Yeah.
Farmon.
Nice. So while they're rolling, the way advancement works in here is when you pass so many tests, you get advancement points, which help you level up your skills. And so passing is 1, passing with a 6 or 2 6s is the second advancement. And then the third that they can get is passing with double 6s and using a feat or some kind of magical ability. So
I think Issel most of the time would be watching her, making sure she's like okay, like healthy. Like, is she gonna pass out? Like,
she seems to be in some kind of pain. So all of you, except Lostariel, passed insight. And what you notice is she's genuinely true about what she's sharing, but based on what she previously said, you have no clue how it is that she would know this, having never been in Rune herself, to have this kind of information about dwarven tribes there and merchants traveling to the Elvish land.
Well, if I'm being honest, the last time a hobbit went into a reclusive elven kingdom, it didn't really turn out so well. So my vote is for the dwarves. No offense, Lostariel.
Some offense taken.
Farmon turns to Issel and Lostariel and asks, do you know anything of these eastern elven kindreds?
Nothing at all, I assume.
Yeah, no. It would actually be news that to you that there are any elves still in the east.
There's elves in the east,
as well as you.
Are you sure that I wouldn't know at all? Because we came from the east, wouldn't I know Elvish history at all?
So roll lore. Roll a lore check.
I mean, my parents. Okay.
I mean,
came from the east.
Yes.
I feel like if anyone, Issel would probably know because she is a high elf after all.
Well, I mean, there's
racist.
Like first age. They were
okay. I'm sorry.
So based on your knowledge, you knew at one time that there were elves. Issel, you would know this as well, that there were elves. It would be news to you. I'll correct what I said. It would be news to you that they have not been wiped out by the Easterlings, that they are still there, thriving in some capacity, as Rune is a very warlike nation.
No, indeed, I did not know that any elves still survived in the East. I'd be very interested in speaking to them, though, of course, it's up to the party.
I think I would rather trust elves than dwarves. Elves are
Farmon looks
Strange,
hesitant.
strangely, I kind of feel the same way as well.
Farmon scratches the back of his head and thinks, I'm wary of walking into an unknown elven land, judging from what I know of the elves hereabouts.
I certainly can't blame you. I have enough difficulty with my own king.
Raven kind of perks up her head, and she reaches towards where Farmon is and touches his shoulder, and says, "There is one, a dwarf that all of you know. Well, most of you know." And she kind of glances at Issel and says, "There is Farron. You met him while in New Rune. He aided you. He would live." Along, I would suspect he would live along with the other dwarves in. Sorry, I gotta double check the name of the place.
I'm sorry, what?
Zaramzan. Farron is the. Oh, I'm sorry, Grimbold.
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah,
Grimbold.
sorry. Mixing up names here. NPCs. Grimbold. Sorry, Grimbold was the dwarf that you met in New Rune, the city along the lake. He, from what he described and what Raven knows of him, because she does know him, his tribe is located near Zaram Azam.
Farmon nods and says, Grimbold was a good dwarf. He agreed to help us when he certainly did not need to.
It's true, he fought that cave troll with Dinendir.
I have to agree that, yeah, he did do his part. He was actually quite useful.
That dwarf is okay.
And didn't you say that Zaramazan was actually abandoned?
Yes, but there was another tribe of dwarves that preferred not the caves, but instead the trees, and they formed their own tribe. Grimbold is part of that tribe, but it was very close to Zara Azam.
Aren't we getting ahead of ourselves?
I know.
What of New Rune?
Dwarves? I mean, that's pretty weird.
She shoots a glance at you, still not trusting you.
What of New Rune? Will our path not take us near there? What happens if they challenge us on the way?
Most certainly, the only way to the city via water is the running river, and we will have to pass through New Rune in order to get there.
We have not stepped foot in New Rune since we ran away from it.
Yes, I wonder what the temperature is there, politically speaking.
A good way of putting it. Farmon shrugs. Perhaps we'll have to rely on the show of force we'll bring to bear with our ship to
We'll be a little more
avoid an
intimidating than
encounter.
we were last time with Queen Tealia.
I don't think I ever apologized for murdering the King of New Rune and Cold.
Well, maybe we'll just hide you.
There is no need to apologize for that. Trust me.
Issel just looks confused for the last 10 minutes of the
I'm sure I
conversation.
told you about everything that happened before you.
Yeah, for those of you watching, our beloved hobbit Tealia, the adventurers were in the city of New Rune, which was basically a town along the river, and she stabbed through the heart the leader of the city, who was working with Gerald and Kamul, one of the ring wraiths that rules in rune.
As Oda had Ori restrained this guy to the ground as well.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so it's okay because he was working for the Shadow.
Hey, we have his sword hung up on my hearth, inside my hold. So
Do you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Anyway.
Getting back into it.
So, well, are we decided then? Shall we seek these forest dwarves, the tribe of Grimbold?
I mean, it couldn't hurt, honestly.
It could hurt, but it's as good as a plan as any.
I mean,
Oh, I disagree. I think it very much could hurt.
I agree.
well, Grimbold seemed to turn out right. Hopefully, these other dwarves will be all right as well. Well, it seems our course is set. But let me ask, really, truly, what did you all do during your Yuletides? I'd love to hear. What about you, Farmon? How was yours? Did you have anything
Productive.
exciting around
There's no ulterior motive.
Farmon shrugs. It was productive. He doesn't say anything else.
That's good. That's good. Our run was fairly enjoyable. We had quite a few competitions. And Tealia actually did very well. Won a few. I'm actually very impressed. Full of surprises.
She did amazing in the log throwing competition.
I'd be your name in that competition.
You did.
Farmon looks legitimately impressed. He looks her up and down.
So those of you, you will remember Grimbold mentioned his tribe, and he also mentioned the name of the city in the forest that he lives in, and it is called Karu Farlum.
Yes,
You have
what?
to-
Bless you.
You have to write that
Farlum.
down.
It
Yeah.
sounds like what they were singing in like Grinch when they're like
Kaurfarlum.
Cower Farloon?
Yeah,
Do you hate saying things?
I do.
I wonder
do.
why he'd be conditioned to. I wonder why he'd be conditioned
Cower
to be like
Farloon?
that.
That's really difficult to say.
So, So that is the name of the city from which he came from, which is one of the capital city. And so as you're talking amongst yourself, the waitress actually comes a couple times, switches out the salad and breadsticks, and fills your cups with more ale. As she has a rather large pitcher and fills it with mead or ale, whatever it was that you were drinking. Raven kind of just draws back into herself as you make plans, just nodding along.
Well, I suppose it's settled then.
Indeed.
It is.
Let's conclude any other business we have in Esgaroth and be ready to set out in the morning.
Very well. Skull.
Okay.
Cheers.
And they drink to it. And
How are
that's
the breadsticks, by the way?
They're actually perfectly buttered. Because it is so early in the morning, this was basically the first batch that went in. They didn't even have a chance really to cool. They're piping hot. Just the smell of them makes your mouth start to water.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Did we recover hope?
So you did not recover hope. You did recover all your endurance. So
But we still have shadow and hope from.
you still have
before.
shadow and hope. So for the players watching, I'll explain this. Hope is basically they can add to their dice roll by spending hope based on the attributes that they have. On the categories, it depends what attribute is applied. Shadow is something that happens when they do misdeeds or bad things. When their shadow oversees their hope, bad stuff happens. I get to control their player, and basically have a field day. Endurance is basically health points in here. So you did not recover hope, but you did recover all your endurance.
Well,
So-
those of us that did take the undertaking to get some hope out.
Yes, yeah. So with the rest of the day, what are you seeking to do?
Farmon's going to meet with the captain of the ship and make sure everything's ready to go.
Okay.
I want to talk to Tealia about that book she found.
Okay.
I think Odo just is probably going to take the day there's no pending task for him that he needs to do. He's just going to take the day, a little leisure, and then also probably do a little practicing.
Lostariel will join him if he allows.
He will allow. He would welcome it.
Yeah, I'll go along with the practicing as well.
Isel looks at the fighting and flinches dramatically and walks away.
Why not a
right.
ride style?
So we will start. You kind of disperse for the day. We'll start with Issel and Tealia as the group walks up, or actually stands up from the table and starts to go about their business. Go ahead.
Tealia, do you happen to have that book that we found?
Yes, I do.
Were you able to read or look at it at all?
Yes. Well, it grants me magical powers. I mean, I don't like to brag, but it makes me pretty awesome.
That is incredible.
I'm lying. I do like to brag.
Oh, okay. So it was just a book of magic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys have a whole bunch just lying around in Rivendell.
Yes, just lying around. Okay, well, how was?
Do you want to look at it, or?
I actually really would.
Oh well, I mean, of course. I mean, here you go. It's actually just Jefferson and Hamilton.
I was about to say,
My work.
I don't know how to grab this without looking like I picked up a book.
So you reach for the book, and what she hands you is actually a large tome. It has a very worn leather cover. The binding is still in great shape, but you do notice that several of the pages are stained and have dirt kind of smudged in between them, and it looks like it's gone through the ringer. You flip the page open, and you notice the title, which basically just says Alatar on it, and it's written in Quenya, the kind of poetic language of the elves. And as you flip through the pages, it appears to be deciphered. Most definitely you're picking up that it's a journal of some type. Go ahead and make a riddle check.
Oh, because I'm so good at riddle. So good at riddle. I got a 5. I'm not good at riddle. I was just...
Okay. Just
being
checking your
difficult.
character sheet. Okay. So if you do apply hope to this, you will add 11 because that's your favored. That's a favored skill. So
another thing for everybody back at home, it's elves and hope. Like, we want to keep our hope as much as possible because it's easier for us to get corrupted. So,
Use a fellowship point there, eh?
would you guys mind?
I'm
cool
okay with it. Yeah, I'm okay
All right.
with fellowship
So-
points.
every game, the players get fellowship points, which is based on the number of people in the game. So they have 8 this game. And if the group concedes, then a person can use a fellowship point instead of a hope. If the group does not concede and they still use it, then they take a shadow point. So you are using...
Yes, please.
All right. So you with a 15, you look through it and you're actually amazed at the amount of detail that is in here. Alatar, who is one of the blue wizards who traveled into Rune, took very specific notes on the things that he saw there. The different types of people and animals, very detailed. However, every now and then you come across words that just don't make sense, and you're able to piece together that the words that don't make sense is somewhat of a code that he left for people to be able to use the magic that he put into this book, allowing them to actually, without having magical abilities, call upon the power that the Istari were given, which falling into the wrong hands would be quite bad. But you're able to piece together.
So what you're saying is it's quite bad.
So what you see is that it has some ability from the few minutes. I don't know how long you're spending reading it.
Oh, I'm going to read it as long as I possibly can.
So you're able to figure out that the first thing it can do is it can give hope. And it enables the group to be able to kind of restore themselves while they're in battle. You also learn several things about Rune, which I am now going to allow you to have lore Rune. So you have some insight into Rune. I will get you the information on that for next session, but basically it's going to be a trait. You know enough about Rune to where you're not super ignorant about it anymore.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I am super happy right now.
So with that in mind, the rest of it, it's gonna take you a long time to be able to decipher the rest of it, as not even the person Tealia took this to kind of translate it was able to decode all of Alatar's code.
Okay. I'm gonna find Tealia because I'm sure it's been hours since we had our conversation. Is it okay if I hold on to this for a while so I could try and decipher what's going on?
Tealia, you would not want to part with this.
Oh no, am I corrupted again? Oh,
no.
gosh.
So for those of you watching and for those of you playing, magic items such as this, like Orcus, Sting, things like that, you don't normally part with. They are something very precious, and you would have to pass. Basically, you have to roll a Gandalf rune and a 6 in order to part with it.
Interesting choice of words.
Okay, so I take out my sword.
Okay, no, and I gladly hand it back.
Why?
Okay.
I apologize.
I'm joking. I'm not actually going to do that.
Wow.
I understand if you want to hold on to this, if it makes you feel more comfortable. Anytime we have some downtime and you want to sit near it or anything, I would like to continue reading it.
Sure. I think you would understand what's being read more than I do, but I mean, I'm small. I don't hit things hard. So
neither do I, dear. I promise.
Yeah, but you're also pretty big, so I would like to hold on to it.
Go right ahead, dear.
Thank you.
All
Yeah,
right.
but I've just been sitting in the restaurant because, I mean, it's endless breadsticks. So I've been here for about 8 hours.
Yeah, and I mean everything is provided by King Bane, and so you're pretty well off. Farmon, you make your way to the docks where the ship currently is, and as you approach, the water lays perfectly still, like a massive mirror. In the distance, you see several large chunks of ice still floating. Again, as though Long Lake itself is refusing the early spring that has come to touch its depths. You notice men moving back and forth along the docks, loading a few crates onto this 90-foot long boat. Even in the early afternoon hours, their faces are just beaded with sweat. Their shirts are off, and you're just noticing the tenseness of their muscles as they're lifting these heavy crates. At the foot of the ramp, leading up to the ship, there's a man in a dark blue tunic with his back towards you. He has kind of a floppy hat on with a large feather sticking up, very finely dressed, and he appears to be giving them orders, but not actively. He's lost in thought as well, and he actually turns his head, and with a startled expression at seeing you, he puts something down and starts walking towards you.
Do I know this guy's name? I assume I do. What's his name?
This is Lef.
Okay.
You notice him.
Now,
To the left.
Now, who is actually the captain of this ship?
That would be you guys.
Oh, now. Okay.
Don't tell Tealia that.
Okay.
Yeah, who has boating?
I don't think any of us are well suited to that. I think it'd be great if we could get
Luckily, mechanics wise, you guys know how to basically work a boat. Apparently, the One Ring assumes that everyone at least at some point has been in a boat, and you are able to steer said boat.
And to be fair, we also did.
Makes no sense.
Well, we also were on that raft. You remember?
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. We're
but isn't this
proficient.
like a gigantic barge?
It's a lot. I mean, it's 90 feet, but
That raft we could barely fit on.
I'm sure if you take it before, Farmon would have some knowledge of boating, as would the elves, though not skilled in it. Probably the only person who has never been on a boat or a large ship would be Tealia.
I don't think Lostariel has much skill with boating.
I'm sure we have a crew that is
swimming now. Swimming is one of her things.
I'm sure we have a crew who's perfectly capable of handling the boat. We just got to tell them where to go.
Telia's pretty skilled at drowning too, in case we ever need that.
Sure, man.
So
yeah, I forgot about that.
I did not.
So Farmon will speak to Lef and ask, how are the preparations going? Will we be ready to sail at first flight tomorrow?
He comes up to you as you greet him. He's like, Farmon, good morning. I see I see that you're here. Good. I'll be honest. I was actually expecting you a little bit earlier. We finished most of the preparations and are just actually waiting for you and your companions. I'm loading up a little bit extra food. I heard, and he leans in. I heard you're taking the Hobbit with you. She tends to pack a bit much, I hear. So I put a couple extra crates on.
What?
It's not wrong.
you have to remember that Tealia lived in Lake Town for a while and worked, so they would know how much she can eat.
Farmon nods knowingly, perhaps grinning despite himself, and says, "We're much obliged. I appreciate everything you've done for us so far. It's good enough that things are ready to go as they are. We plan on getting started first thing in the morning."
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what to do. And he kind of like looks back and says, King Bane had commissioned gifts for each of you. Do you want me to give them to you now, or perhaps I should wait? And he looks kind of confused as to what to do, as he was expecting to see all of you together when you came to the boat.
We're not all there. It's just Farmon?
No, it's just Farmon.
Farmon sort of looks around on the dock and says, "What did he send?"
Well, of course, he had the finest craftsmen forge in the halls of Erebor these gifts. And he kind of like nods, and this man comes over. And what you see there, you will see in a minute. Once I...
Oh. A brand new stew pot, I hope.
Okay, can you guys see what I just
Yeah, I
popped
can
up?
see. No, I can see that.
So sitting there, you notice several things. One is there's a diamond teardrop earrings, crafted very finely. Not very big, but very nice. They don't have any markings on them, but they are meant for Issel. You notice a dwarven belt, very thickly made, and it just has runes written across it. It's leather, but there's actually silver that's been kind of almost molded on inside of it. For you, he actually picks up and hands you a staff made of dark oak. It's been stained, and all along the staff are various birds carved into it in intricate detail. He says, this one is for you. And he hands it to you. It comes up about to your eye level, and again, it's a beautiful staff. There's also a sapphire ring with 2 small diamonds, and the sapphire part is in the shape of a crescent moon for Lostariel. There's a hammer brooch made of pure gold for Odo, and for Tealia, there's a very thin woven silver belt. You haven't seen mithril before, but given the lightness of it and the intricacy, you guess that it might be made of mithril. And so each of you will receive those items if Farmon chooses to give them to you.
Yeah.
You will
Yeah.
give them to me.
So chooses.
No, Farmon's looking at the staff that he's been presented with, and he casts an eye over the other gifts, and he doesn't say anything at first, but he experiences a sort of wave of like, oh shit, this is serious. And he's speechless for a moment before he says, he nods and grunts and says, "These are truly kingly gifts."
Well, yes, King Bane. Well, it's not just King Bane. You go forth representing Esgaroth, Dale, Mirkwood, the Lonely Mountain. You will find aid from any of us. Should those you find call themselves allies to those nations. You are most definitely the protectors of the West, the warriors of Wilderland. And he kind of like puffs up his chest as he says that.
Farmon looks skeptically at him, looking him up and down, and wonders what's gotten into him to be speaking so grandiosely about what he perceives as a fairly ragtag expedition to the unknown East. But he says, "Gather these things up for me. I'll present them to my companions in person."
Very well. I guess you set off in the morning. I will be here to see you off, and I will make sure that that those who will be helping you in your journey are here as well.
Thank you, Lef. You've done well. He'll take his things and go.
Thank you. So right now we're going to take a 5-minute break for those of us role playing. If you need to use the restroom or anything, And then I will, before we take that break, I'm going to explain the magic items you have. If you're in Roll20 looking right now, they have blessings for certain areas. When you take that test, you can spend a hope point to add your wisdom to the roll. I'm sorry, you can, reading the rules, you add a wisdom to it, or you can spend a hope point to achieve a magical success, which automatically passes with amazing, grandiose results. So, for example, Farmon, when you do explore tests, you now get to add your wisdom to that.
Ooh.
So, whatever
Wait,
your
can
wisdom
you repeat
is.
it?
Yeah.
Yes, you get to add your wisdom to
So
whatever
without spending hope.
without spending hope. If you
Thank you.
choose, you can spend a point of hope and get a magical result, much like Tealia when she used to disappear using her bracelet. So a magical result is an automatic success. It allows you to fill in your third marker for advancement points for gaining your skills. But it increases the eye marker so the enemy would know where you are. So
A little bit of a downside, but yeah.
And for those of you watching, before we go to a 5-minute break, the eye marker is actually the awareness that the enemy has of the players. And so each time they roll an 11 or do something magical or that would attract the enemy, that marker goes up, and at a certain threshold, something bad happens as the enemy or the earth or basically foes find out that they are there, and it tends to be bad. So that is the downside of doing a magical effect, is that it will increase the enemy's awareness of you there. And so at this point, we are going to take a 5-minute break, and we will be back.
Totally forgot we were having a break. It's
We
like 5
kind
minutes
of-
ago, I was like, I need to go to the bathroom. Okay, I'll just leave.
Usually when I'm playing D&D, that's what I do, because my other group, like I told you guys, goes for like 5 hours, and it's like, yeah, I just get up and leave.
Well, I left Squirt with you guys. So
Oh yeah, Squirt. Anyway, I'll be right back.
how's it going, Heather?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
It's good. It's been a busy day.
Yeah. Work okay?
Yeah. I didn't go in, but I had to finish up my draft for my tour, and then I had an interview for another job this afternoon.
You gonna start working 2 jobs? Or
That's the idea. They're both part-time.
they're insane. I don't even have time to think if I have 2 jobs.
So here's the funny part.
Uh-huh.
The job at Monticello, the average guide works like 8 to 10 days a month. So it's like super part-time.
Oh.
So it's like, yeah, that's like 2 days a week. If I can get another job that's like 20 hours a week, that's maybe like 3 days.
That way you still get 2 days off and you're not pushing yourself.
Exactly. But when all the new guides met with the person that does the scheduling, I brought cookies. And I think she likes me. And so she gave me something like 18 shifts next month. And I was like, oh, I thought
You pulled a Tealia.
That's exactly it. People think that Tealia is some other character. It's just me.
Yeah, no, totally.
And so now I was like, oh, maybe I don't really have time for this other job if I'm working twice as much as I thought I was going to.
Right.
I mean, I have time for it. It's just I would be working 6 days a week, maybe, rather than 5. But we'll see.
Well, it's still really exciting.
Right? And this other job is slightly more prestigious, or it has like more responsibilities, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds more prestigious.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah,
Hi.
I actually gotta refill my water.
Today
Okay.
at work, let me tell you what happened at work today, guys. I ordered 10 kegs of beer for an event. Nothing made
Really?
me sound more of a
Oh,
lush
man.
than today.
Impressive.
Oh, yeah.
10?
10 kegs of beer.
Oh, wow. Were you like hosting some sort of like frat party or something?
No, we do a really big events. We're about to host an event of about 500 to 700 people.
Oh,
And
okay.
so we do
I'm
a
pretty
lot of.
sure we're still live right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
we are. We
Yeah.
kind of are.
Oh yeah, we did. Sorry, did I miss something?
sorry, guys.
It's
I'm
just
No,
sad.
it's good. This
If
is
you
the,
heard that, you know that.
Hey,
this is
it's good story
behind the
time.
scenes reel right here.
Yep.
This is
Behind the scenes, Heather
Mhm.
orders a lot of beer.
yep.
Chat.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
So as we're waiting, I just want to again thank everyone for sticking with us on our first night, trying to fix everything and get everything all set up. And next week we'll hopefully have everything ready to go for the stream time.
I mean, it's been working out pretty well so far, so
It has.
Yeah.
I'm sure that next time we'll have like all the kinks worked out.
Yeah, I just forgot that I needed your password and the stream code too.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So we're just waiting for Tealia. Again, everyone, you can follow us on Facebook. I actually think seeing the possible problems we're going to have, I'm going to Facebook Live. So at 6 o'clock next week, Into the Frying Pan at 6 o'clock, I'm going to Facebook Live that. And basically that's a Q&A or learn the rules for the One Ring, which is the system that we're using by Cube 7. So if you're interested in learning the rules, talking about what happened, asking questions, that will be 6 o'clock next week on our Facebook. I will be doing that every week. And so it will be a good time, even if you just want to learn the rules for the One Ring.
Here, here.
I'm horrible with pronunciations, but whoever just typed production quality is pretty good. That's thanks to Nate. He did a lot of this in setting up and everything. And we actually do have an introduction video, which we didn't get to play because we had to switch who was streaming. But it is all thanks to Odo.
Nate, I heard in another group that I was in that's watching this, they also said that everything's fantastic. It looks really good. So you're getting compliments all around.
There you go.
It's a team effort. It's a team effort.
And that's
I mean-
from Oda and Lawrence, Dave.
Well, thank you, Oda and Lawrence. We appreciate you and continue to follow us in the story.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, despite the difficulties we had starting, but we're doing pretty good.
I don't know. 1 out of 10 needs more hobbits.
All right.
The forgotten folk in the east, the small
Go
ones.
the men join. I have no clue, HC Phil, with what the men join is.
What?
I don't know. But hey. All right. If everyone's here, I think we'll get started again. Okay. So last group, Lostariel, Odo, and Dunbeorn, you guys go away for a little while to practice. Go ahead.
Well, I don't know about the two of you, but I would like to work on some of my grappling moves. It keeps me very agile. And Dunbeorn, would you like to assist me a little bit?
Sure.
Just want to try to do like a series of, organized throws.
Don't stop, Nate. Keep doing that.
All right. All right, Dunbeorn, you ready?
All right. So, what
Oh,
do we roll something for this?
Oh yeah, out of character. This is like judo. If you're familiar with judo.
Okay.
Like they do the hips round and flip.
This will be a athletics.
Oh boy. I don't have a lot in athletics, but it is favored, so I could probably... Okay, let's do this.
Okay. Odo, do you want to describe what exactly you're doing?
Yeah, Odo's gonna come up. He's gonna be like, and then slide in under his right arm, pull up over his shoulders down like this, and use the back of his hips to, and flop him down.
Okay. You land down on the ground.
Ouch.
Dunbeorn, yes. When I come like that, thank you. But when I come like that, you want to kind of sidestep the other way and try to use my momentum against me.
Duly noted.
Good.
And and Lostariel is just watching us from this whole time, just like
I really
wrestling.
like imagining that Odo throws Dunbeorn down and Dunbeorn just goes, "Ow."
That's exactly what happens. Ow.
Just deadpans it. Yeah, Lostariel's just watching. I don't know. She's chilling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine we just like do some different kind of grappling moves over a little series of time, just practicing, not really trying to beat each other, just practice, training. Like
yeah.
Is that what the Bjornings call it?
Well, I was gonna say martial arts, but
can't wait to hear her. Go for it.
I just
All
call
right.
it wrestling. That's all I'm gonna call it. I'm just calling it wrestling.
All right, so you guys do this for a while, and you get odd looks from people nearby, and the sun on you it starts to get warm. You start to sweat a little bit, and the day progresses pretty much like a normal day.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you would?
Are you gonna
Lostariel?
work on anything?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do I need to?
Not wrong. Not wrong.
No.
Unless anyone wants to do like an archery competition with Lostariel, like.
I don't have a bow.
Yeah, then.
No, I don't have a bow either. I gave up my spear too, so.
Actually, what Odo could do, Odo could try throwing a spear, and you could try
Peg the spear.
Shooting the spear?
Yeah, that's like a moving target. That takes more talent.
We did this already, Nate, but sure.
Odo has not done this.
Yes, I know. That's why I said Nate.
Okay, so Odo takes his spear, challenging Lostariel.
Not challenging. He's suggesting. He's not challenging.
Yeah, we'll do. Why not?
All right, so you chuck your spear. Go ahead and roll a battle.
Battle?
For that.
Me or
Not
just
battle. I'm sorry. Your spear skill, and Lostariel, you'll roll your bow.
Don't fumble.
I might. I actually don't play.
What if I get a really bad roll?
I don't think it could be worse than mine. I only have one in spear, so.
Okay.
But I did well.
Wow. Yeah, 14.
Yeah, I got 22. So.
Do you want to, Lostariel, describe that?
No, I think it just hits like really close to the the head, the spear head.
Okay. Yeah, the arrow hits it, and actually,
I feel like she acts like she's not gonna do it, and then at the very last second, she just like a flick.
It hits
Swift.
the tip, and the spear. The momentum of the arrow hitting it actually causes the spear to start to spin in the air, and then it falls to the ground as it's no longer traveling in a straight trajectory path.
But the arrow hits Scanlan in the neck, right?
Yes.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
Just hits a random hobbit in the.
So
Somewhere in the distance, Tealia screams.
no. So you guys go and in the evening rest. You get a full night's rest in the beds that are provided for you by the high merchant Lef. And then in the early morning, you set out towards the docks to prepare for your journey. And during this time, Tealia, maps have been brought to you as you are the group guide for you to look over the path that you are going to take with the group. And so for those of you watching, we are entering in what's known as the travel phase. Normally they would roll for their travel tests, and various setbacks can happen. I have them roll before the game. Each person has a set roll. Tealia is the guide, so she chooses the path that they are to take. And so Tealia, they're really for 2/3 of your journey, you travel the running river, which leads to the Sea of Rune. The only choice you have once you get to the Sea of Rune is either to travel directly across the sea, which would be the fastest choice, or to go along the coast. You would know that traveling across open water can be more dangerous, though it's quicker. But the coast, while slower, would allow you the safety of the shoreline in sight. So of those two, which one are you going to choose?
I'll just mention for the record that the most unrealistic thing about this fantasy role-playing game is that Tealia is the guide for this.
I mean, well, who else? Honestly, who else could do it?
I mean, mechanically, it makes perfect sense. But if
Tealia doesn't want the guide, Odo's fine. If you don't want to be, if Tealia doesn't want to be the guide.
Well, the problem is that it's on the river, right?
Yeah, you're fine. The river is fine. It's once you get to the ocean that you have to make, or the sea, I should say, that you have to make the choice. Open water or along the coast?
Along the coast.
Along the coast? Okay.
Because, holy crap, I'm not going out onto the ocean. What even is that?
Right, yeah, open water, no.
Hobbits
Okay.
in water.
So you guys already made your rolls. So loosening the ropes from the dock, the light breeze catches the sail, lurching you into Long Lake. The water lays still and calm like a massive mirror. In the few moments, the town slowly starts to grow smaller. The breeze continues to propel you forward, taking you to the mouth of the running river. As you start traveling down the river, the water is swift flowing and more aggressive than the last time you had traveled down on the small raft. The sun starts to set on the first day of your journey, and you reach a point in the river where it starts to turn. It's less rapid in this area than most of the journey so far.
So, Farmon, if I could have a minute.
What's the matter?
Quick question. I mean, you lived in Dale, right? I mean, you've been by rivers. Why do people even build boats? I mean, rivers are just crazy, right? I mean, no one should even be in them. If you like try to build a boat, you just put the plank in the water and it just goes down. How do you even build a boat on the river? What I'm saying is, why boats? And why rivers?
Hashtag why boats.
Farmon regards the Hobbit with a wry grin rising involuntarily on his face, and asks, "Tealia, how long would it have taken us to get to New Rune from where we started had we gone on foot?"
Longer. Is I think that's what you're looking for.
Oh God, yeah.
He nods. "And how long would it have taken us to carry all of these provisions? We've months of stores that we can carry with us. Surely you understand the value therein." And
I'm sure the Bjornings could carry everything, but
he laughs and places a hand on her shoulder, reassuringly. He likes Tealia, and says, "I understand your folk are not a water-going race, but I assure you, we're perfectly
we're a
safe."
water-going race. We just don't always come out of it.
I believe this short voyage over the waves will be the least perilous part of our journey. Take comfort in that." He pats her a couple times on the shoulder and then stands up and walks off.
Tealia will look at the river that she almost drowned in a few months back and be like, least perilous. Least perilous? Least perilous. Does that mean everything else is more perilous? Oh no. And then we'll go back to eating.
While this is happening, Raven is keeping an eye on you, and just kind of like smirks as she can guess probably what happened to her stuff, seeing as Tealia does not have them anymore and is leery of the water. You after your night's rest, you push off, and the next section of your travel brings you to a familiar area. In the distance, you can see smoke coming from the tips of houses of the small village of Appletown that you had frequently visited on your last trip. You can see now the lush apple trees starting to bud with flowers. Closer to the shore, the area has large divots in it, and it looks more like a marsh than the land that you traveled before. A few dead trees dot the area, but as far as you can see from your boat, there's no sight of a forest, which previously the land had been covered with. The dark canopy of the wood seems just a memory on the land.
Do we see any people at all in Appletown?
It's too far away. Like you can just barely see like the trees. Like the trees are like way small, and you see mostly the smoke coming up from the buildings. It doesn't seem alarming. I'll say that.
We can just assume that people have started to like slowly move back into Appletown.
Yeah, people most likely went back and went about their normal business.
All right then.
The heroes have been through. It's back to its quiet, idyllic, pre-adventure setting, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, that's what it would appear. The forest Morgallo, which had appeared there suddenly over the past 6 months, is gone. Again, just leaving those divots and large the large marsh area around the riverbank.
Gone as in magically disappeared, or gone as in like the Rune lumber market is thriving right now?
Gone as in magically disappeared.
Oh,
what? There are no trees to be seen, where before there was a vast forest.
Gotcha.
I'll walk up. Oh, sorry.
Lostariel is she's very quiet as they sail through this part.
I walk up to Lostariel and I kind of nudge her and I say, look, it's where our adventure began. The first time I ran into all of you.
It's true. I have some interesting memories of this place.
Are you okay?
I'm all right. And she touches some of the jewels that are braided into her hair.
She never took those out, did she?
Nope. They're even in her portrait.
Mm.
They are. I think Oda's just like on the side of the ship, just kind of gazing out, pondering, thinking to himself. That's all.
Well, I'm happy that it ended the way it did, Lostariel.
Yes, instead of me being bound in a barrow for the rest of eternity.
I'm
Do
happy that...
you-
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you remember anything? Do you remember how you got there?
My last memory is my bow breaking in the inn, and I just felt this sudden compulsion to go into the forest, and so I did. And after that, it's all darkness and shapes of mist, cold. And then I remember Tealia, I think, is the first one I saw when I woke up. Trying to drag my body, I think. She laughs a little.
Well, we're glad that you're back.
So am I.
And I'm glad that upon this adventure, I made new friends. I told you before that I saw stars in the dream that led me to all of you, and I think you guys were the stars that I was looking for.
Yes,
Go
just-
for Tealia, just-
Isel lets one
Sigh.
tear, just
Seasick.
one single tear, just falls from her face.
It's very lovely.
Meanwhile, hey Dave, how long from this point before we pass New Rune?
At last you pass the weary traveler, the inn where Rohir bid you to aid him, to travel further into the east and fulfill the words that were passed on by his teacher. Across, you see New Rune. It appears to be going about his business, paying no heed to the ships that pass it by.
Are there any more, of Talahir's men about?
As you pass, it actually appears like the town is a normal town again. The gloominess that was kind of ever present isn't there. The sun shines down just as it shines down on you. People are in the street moving about. You're pretty much. It is on a hill, but the ship is so large that you can pretty much look just a little bit upward and see that people are moving about happily. Whoever was put in charge after Talahir, they did not have any, as far as you can tell, connection or wish to proceed with the plans that he was making with Rune.
Well, I guess we made a difference.
So, was stopping in New Rune part of the itinerary?
You can stop if you want. There is a dock which you guys had visited before.
Do we have any reason to stop at New Rune, or are we just going to keep going?
Let's not go to New Rune. Tis a silly place.
Tis a silly place.
The best words. Yes.
I've never been to New Rune. Why don't we want to go there?
You're not missing anything.
Oh.
We've got a bit of history in there.
Just a bit.
Oh, it's what? Oh, okay. My apologies.
What was
What was that?
All right.
I'm sorry. It was my roommate
that?
and his,
I-
and
I
his brother.
That was almost as good as the mushroom people.
For a second, I was like, Twitch chat has become sentient.
The-
Wait, mushroom people?
You don't remember the mushroom people?
I forgot what the mushroom people were.
When her husband was talking.
Oh yeah. Okay, now I remember. Okay.
So, anyways,
Anyway,
the river keeps passing, and then before you, large open water waits. The first few hours, everything seems new. The water stretches as far. For the first few hours, not much seems new. The water stretches as far as you can see. Sailing by shore, you notice that not much is different than the Wilderland you know. The ground is fairly open, a few rolling hills and thickets of trees here and there. As the sun starts to set, suddenly a turbulent wind comes from the east. The ship rocks and heaves as waves rack against the side of the ship. Rain pours down in sheets. You're pitched back and forth from the storm. Tealia, as the guide, you need to make an athletics check to keep control of the ship.
Can I just make a statement that Tealia is probably just hiding in a crate right now?
I mean, you can automatically fail the athletics check.
I approve. Farmon approves.
Why?
No, I will attempt it.
Could I potentially assist her?
You can assist, so both of you can roll.
How many people can successfully assist on a roll?
Up to 3.
Okay. Well, Farmon
Okay.
should
Easy, guys. Easy.
He did pass
He
it.
takes command.
Dunbeorn by the Hobbit like holds on as like the waves are tossing, like her small little body like literally only halfway up to the steering helm, and it's like but she holds her own and is able to keep control as the waves toss about.
With a little bit of help from Dunbeorn, of course.
With a little help from Dunbeorn. At about midnight, the storm calms, and you just float on. It's not until after everything has happened that there's a large crash, and the boat lurches forward with a sudden jerk, and all movement ceases.
What?
I think we just ran aground. Tealia wouldn't know that, but
Dang it, Tealia!
We just ran aground.
so if the boat stopped, does that mean we're here?
You can you guys can make an awareness check for your surroundings to see what exactly has happened.
Hey, Dave, because I'm keen-eyed, would I
Yes.
be able to tell a little better?
Yeah, you actually.
Okay, well then there's no point in me even looking.
No, it's good. It's good.
Look at that roll.
That's incredible, Nate.
That is incredible, and and look at mine. I rolled a 21. The
Nice.
Bjornings see everything.
That's an epic feat right there.
That is an epic feat. So the Bjorning kind of like catches that there's a large rock jutting up out of the water into the side of the boat. You're not far from the shore, but you've run aground, and Issel, you see this as well. You don't want to point blame, but very clearly Lostariel was the lookout at this point and was not able to see this large rock. You guys can thank Quill for taking that eye and then not deciding to re-roll on her travel check for that.
I am
I feel
100%.
attacked.
Your L5C.
I am 100% sure she was just so overwhelmed with passing Appletown that it just.
It is quite. So for those of you,
I wasn't
for those,
paying attention, so.
For those of you watching, when they made their travel check, Lostariel rolled an I, which means that something bad happens, and then she failed her test as a lookout and decided not to re-roll for it, which is why they have run
You
aground.
make this sound so malicious.
I'm not. I'm just saying how it is. Okay, don't go there, girlfriend.
Now, if you roll an I, it's 100% your fault.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Anyways, Oda's just kind of look back and kind of be like, just give a little smirk, and then he is kind of looking more inspecting, trying to see, okay, how can we get ungrounded or degrounded?
It's too dark right now for you. Like, you can see that there's a rock, but to kind of survey the rest of the situation, it's too dark.
I got
you
brother to bears. I see better in the dark.
You can see better in the dark, but you can't see the depth of the water. Like, you see the rock jutting out, but the starlight does not allow you to see like how deep this sandbar or this rock goes, or the surrounding area of how deep it is.
He'll hop in.
You're going to hop in the water.
What's the climate like here where we are?
It's similar to what it was before, so the water is going to be very cold.
Like, what are we talking here? Like, we're talking like 40s, 60s.
Yeah, it would be probably like 50.
It's soundly within hypothermia range.
I'm covered in hair. I'm a Bjorn. I'll be fine.
Go bear shape.
Odo's a manly
Beard
man
is better. Beard is better.
All that manly hair.
And wraps it around his body for warmth.
Makes it into a scarf.
What?
Okay, so you're going to jump into the water.
50?
It's 50.
50's not too bad. I've personally done 50 myself before, but
I'm
So
personally.
tell us about your new character.
It's just I've done 50 before. It's no big deal.
it's chilly. You can't be in
no
there
big
for a
deal.
long time, but you can be in there for a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna slide in. Well,
You're going to-
I'm not gonna like inch my way once my body touches the water, and I'm gonna take most of my clothes off because that'll be better when I get back out to rewarm myself. So I'm gonna take most of my clothes off, not going full. Like, I'm covered, barely, but I'm covered just enough to be decent, enough for the task. Barely.
Raven kind of like blushes and looks away as you start to
I
undress.
didn't realize she was right there, but
Iselle's just grabbing a bunch of blankets just to be like,
Tealia is just awestruck.
he'll take a rope
Done.
and just start like sliding down a little bit, and then once he gets to the point where his toes would touch the water, then he'll drop and just try to swim down and take a quick look. Not going to spend too much time down there.
Yeah, and Dunbeorn kind of throws that Cersei glance at Raven for like oogling at him.
Whoa, I didn't say oogling. All right, Nate, I need you. I need you to make a battle check.
A battle?
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
what is he gonna find in
The
the
shrieking eels.
Oh no!
He has
Princess
to
Bride.
no. He has to battle the elements. All right.
There you go.
For those of you wondering, he's making a battle because it has to do with proper footing when trying to do things like that.
I like
Oh.
the shrieking eels better.
Shrieking eels.
Well, then if that's what that's for, then I'll fall. I don't care.
Okay.
I'll fall into
So
the water if I need to.
you step on the rock, and as you kind of let go of the rope, unexpectedly, your foot slips as the rock is not as wide as you thought it was, and there's a loud splash for those of you on the boat as Odo goes into the water. You start swimming. And the water is fairly deep right here. Your boat was having no problem sailing along here. And as you kind of swim towards the area where the rock is, you do notice that it is a rather large rock that appears to go underneath the ship a little bit.
That's a surface dive.
Yep, making athletics. TN 16.
Oh, sorry. Wait. Nope. That's the wrong one. That's awareness. I actually clicked
Man,
the wrong one.
that would have been so perfect.
I still got it, and a great
17.
success.
Yep. So with you dive under the water, and I assume you're looking for how far the rock goes.
Yeah, just how far under its wedge. So I'm just like quickly
It goes a good quarter towards the boat, like underneath the boat.
Like quarter way down?
The rock goes all, like, it goes a quarter way into the boat. Like, so a quarter of the boat is stuck on this rock.
Okay. I gotcha. And then I swim back up. And find the rope and try to shimmy up as quickly as I can.
Okay. Raven comes over and kind of picks up your clothes to keep them dry and says, is there any problems?
Well, we're about a quarter way stuck on the rock, and he'll look around. Dunbeorn said he grabbed some blankets, right? Or someone did.
It was
Issel did.
Oh, Issel.
Issel.
Okay. Issel.
Me.
He's like, oh, thank you. And this quickly tries to pats and dry himself off and starts, warming his body, and then he'll put his clothes on as fast as he can.
Okay.
Smells like wet fur.
Do a little shake before he puts his clothes on. A little fur shake.
So it is midnight right now, just so you guys know.
The witching hour.
Witching hour.
I thought
So
the witching
where
hour
are
was
we?
3 a.m.
Where do we stand? Whatever. Where do we stand right now?
Or a quarter way stuck on the rock.
We're stuck.
Okay.
Can we go like below deck and check to make sure that there's no sort of hull breach?
Yeah, this isn't turning into Titanic too.
Yeah. So you go under, and there is a small spot that has been breached, but you're not taking on water.
Can we repair that?
I'm gonna bring that. Yeah, I'm gonna bring that to the attention of the crew. I'm gonna assume that there's some sailor here who knows how to fix that.
They kind of look at you and they're like, yes, it would take a while, as we're going to need supplies. We didn't really bring anything. We weren't expecting to.
That can't be true.
Would I be able to help?
I gotta call that out.
Damn it, Lef.
that they didn't.
Why would they not have that?
They have pitch and things like that, but the fact that a rock is sticking in there, like.
So we have to move the rock first.
Yeah, in order to patch it, like, they're gonna need to put board on it and then put the pitch to seal it up.
Well, we're pretty close to the shore anyway, yeah. So we could. I don't know what the procedure is for a 90-foot. It's a longboat, you said, right? Like it's that style.
Yeah.
So we could just draw it up on shore and make repairs, and then go about our merry way. Right.
That's a possibility,
So Dave,
Would I be able to help it out as well with like my
Yes.
knowledge of?
Yes.
I think it's time for a meal for everyone.
yeah, let's
Can I invoke my cooking specialty?
You can invoke your cooking specialty.
And I think I would like to sing a song while we're eating and chilling and stuff.
Okay.
If that's okay.
So everyone regains 1 point of hope from Tealia's cooking.
That's good.
I'm topped off, so yeah.
I'm almost
good.
topped off. I'm so happy right now. Okay, sorry.
Oh,
Dave, don't I get a roll to reduce shadow points?
You can. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yeah, reduce shadow points. Go ahead and roll for that.
Okay. So, for the record, before I do this, let me just explain. Cooking, making a cooking roll is a craft roll in this game. Craft is Tealia's best stat. And so far, I've gotten like a 25% success rate over the past 4 months.
21 sessions. We've been playing for 21 sessions.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that. You each reduced by 2
Guys,
shadow
it's a new
points.
day.
All of
2
us?
shadow points, yes. You eat
Yay.
this meal and it's warm and it's hearty. And despite the circumstances that you have with having to drag the the ship now to shore in order to have it patched up, you're feeling quite well.
All right. No
And I mean,
shadow
I
for
just
me.
sang for everybody, so it's cool. We're just gonna call it good.
It's all good. It's all good.
Love it.
Just
All right.
out of game. So relieved right now.
I bet.
Maybe this is the secret to cooking. You have to do it well live on the stream.
Yeah,
Right.
like a sushi chef, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So you rest for the night, and you get up in the morning, and the sailors, which you have with you, start the process of getting the boat up off the large rock and bringing it in without damaging it further. The sun starts to beat down on you. The heat more intense than what you were expecting, and along the coast, as they start to bring the boat into shore, you notice that there's actually several places where rocks similar to this jut out, creating several inlets. The countryside is rolling hills with thickets of trees that sit on top, kind of like grass crowns of green. They managed to get you off the rock and start heading towards the coastline. And as they slowly row you forward, a shape pokes out from the rocks to your side. Floating swiftly towards you, a ship moves and actually starts to overtake you and pull up alongside of you. Along the shore, which you are currently heading towards, a cloud of dust moves, and from behind the closest hill, you see several horses with men bearing spears start riding towards the coastline.
See, Farmon left. Actually, sent out another group to help us after all.
I don't think they're friendly, Tealia.
I mean, we have to think of the best in people, Can't start thinking like that.
Can we tell anything about their appearance from where we are?
The men on the ship are quickly getting close to you. What you notice is the one that apparently is directing the ship is dressed in earth tones of gray and brown. He has a leather breastplate and a black scarf wrapped around his neck. Tanned skin from days unnumbered, really out in the elements and in the sun. The men on his boat are hooded and wearing gray clothing. You see yellow eyes poking through four of them and long black hair. And as the ship pulls closer, you can actually see that there's a greenish tint to their skin. Two of the men on board appear dressed as who you would guess is the captain. Along the shore, the men are dressed in various shades of brown, and they have helms on their head with a crescent moon in front. They have short spears with spikes on either ends strapped to their backs, and they have horned bows in their hands. They are as well quite tanned, and they have wild black and brown hair and brown eyes with bar handle mustaches and thick eyebrows.
Anyways, to respond to Tilia's comment for all that, Odo's gonna say, yes, we should think of the best in people. And then he takes out his axe and his shield.
Yeah,
It's kind of like...
Farmon's gonna call the party to arms.
Raven kind of looks back at the group and she says, "These are most assuredly Easterlings, and they will not be welcomed to see you in their waters."
Bring it.
Perhaps
Farmer looks
don't
at her.
have to fight.
Yeah. Farmer looks at her and says, "Any chance there are any friends of yours? Could they be persuaded?"
It is hard to tell, but along these shores, I doubt it. the area where my people are from is on the other side of the mountains. Most of the people on this side are loyal to Kamul and actually fought with him in the uprising to make sure that the line of Helman does not hold the throne.
I mean, to be fair, the people on the boat are wearing gray, the people on the shore are wearing brown. Could be different. Or they just got different memos, something was lost in the mail.
Well, hold on now. Dave, are we still out of bowshot of the shore?
No, they most definitely could reach you.
Well, let's try to move out of bowshot of the shore, so we only have to worry about the people on the ship to begin with.
So moving out of bowshot, like you're heading towards the shore like this, and the ship like is coming up alongside you like this.
That's fine. That's fine.
God.
We're gonna have to fight somebody.
So you start to move back, and as you do, the ship beside you tosses over hooks and latches into the wooden planks, making it, or the wood of your ship, making it so they will travel with you, and they actually start setting themselves to basically try and intercept you and keep you from going. The captain calls out in some speech that you don't quite understand, and then moving forward, he says, "Who goes there? Halt now."
Can we hold the ship?
I mean, I feel like
this is an encounter, so everyone make an insight roll. And for those of you watching again, encounters is how you talk to people, depending on their successes or their fails, determines how the person will respond to them.
Okay, Dave, now I have a question.
Yes.
Because of my fair spokenness thingy-mabobber, what does that do for me again?
So that has to pertain to anything where you are talking.
Okay.
So when you are talking to them, you can apply that either to automatically pass or to basically fill in your third dot for a high result.
Okie dokie. Thank you.
So Tealia, you get an extra dice in this encounter.
Hey, now I made an.
Oh,
an
Dunbeorn,
extraordinary
you get
success.
2 success dice. Farmon, you get 2 success dice. Lostariel, you get 2 as well. Odo,
Nice.
you get 1. So, and those are dice that you can use at any point during this test. The captain comes forward, seeing you, and what you can immediately all gather from him is that he is a person that highly respects battle and power. Power, most assuredly. Using awe or trying to persuade him would work well. All better than persuading. Courtesy would most likely insult him and make him think that you are weak, which would lead to hostile actions. He is. You can tell that he is an Easterling. From the Easterlings you fought in New Rune, he is very similar to them.
Okay, last thing he said, declare yourselves, or who are you?
Yes.
Okay. Odo's gonna speak up. There you go. I am Odo of the Bjornings, slayer of trolls and wargs. Who speaks for you?
The captain kind of steps forward. Roll. I take it you're doing awe.
Oh yeah.
To try and, yep.
I'm just standing next to Odo with my axe out and just kind of like resting it on my shoulders.
And for those of you, his tolerance level is 3, so you have 3 fails, mechanic wise with your insight. So he looks at you and he says, "That is a strange name, but I speak for the men on these ships and our comrades on board. Why are you here? These are our waters. This is our land."
So Tealia's just gonna stand next to Odo and Dun, and I just realized that my cooking equipment has been placed in my weapon skill section. So she has a frying pan out and is ready to use it.
Are we letting Odo speak for us, or are we joining the encounter?
You guys can join in. I'm cool. with
Yeah,
that.
you guys can join in.
I'm really reluctant to, but I guess I'll roll awe.
Aw.
Can I? I'm going to whisper to Lostariel. I think we should do the Queen Tealia thing again.
Also, you can remember you can roll riddle to try and get information from them without actually saying something in the encounter, and so add to your success rate. All right, Farmon, that is a fail, unless you want to use hope to hope that up.
No, I couldn't get it up past 14 anyway. So,
Okay.
but you know, true to his nature, Farmon will sort of step forward and throw his cloak off of his left side, sort of showing the sword of King Bane, and say, "I'm Farmon, son of Fairfax the Bold. We're travelers in your waters. Is this the hospitality that you would show us?"
Son of Fairfax? Yes, your face does look fair. I doubt you've seen any battle. And like at that, some of the men kind of like chuckle on board. I've never seen Tangled, so.
Farmon spits on the deck.
Shame.
Hang on, I need to get the shame nun. 1 second.
You just need to bookmark that in the Cersei thing.
I
So-
do.
So, is anyone else taking place in this encounter, or is it just
I will. That's the face.
Oh wait, it doesn't. Okay, never mind. It doesn't work here. I'm just gonna put it in Discord then.
Odo wants to reply to what the guy said to Farmon. And Odo's going to say, "I don't think you'd be talking the way you do if you knew what we have done." And then he just kind of bridles his necklace of eye tooth bone necklace, and then ruffle his shoulders that has the big warg head on there.
And Dunbeorn, he's got his axe up and he's like, look, our business is our own. Just let it be. And let me just roll awe for that.
wow?
Ooh.
Damn.
Whoa.
Nice.
They completely shit themselves.
So at this point, the horses along the shoreline stop and are kind of waiting there. The captain looks at each of you, and then his eyes actually stop when he sees the two elves. He stares at each of you in turn, and the crew catches what the captain is doing, and they kind of gear their heads towards you, and they actually start murmuring amongst themselves. It's hard to hear what they're saying, but the captain, looking at the two elves, says, "And what is your business in these waters?"
Our business is the same as our companions.
He
What turns
sorry.
your eyes towards us?
He shoots a glance at the two Bjornings, the hobbit and the man with the pretty face, and
What?
and
Okay.
Odo will stare
Tur-
back at him.
Matters
Turning-
of opinion.
turning back to Lostariel, he says, "I did not know that your kind traveled these waters, but kept to the safety of your forest."
Your kind?
Lostariel gives Dunbeorn a sharp look, like, let me handle this.
He backs off. He backs off. This is like,
What's his face
he's-
react to that?
He definitely nods upon you doing that, And
No, I mean, does he react to what Dunbeorn said?
no, he doesn't.
Okay.
But he reacts to you kind of putting Dunbeorn in his place. And he then looks over at Issel, kind of puzzled, and he says, "And I take it that your business is the same?"
You are correct, sir.
He looks at both of you and at the group, and you can tell at this point he's quite puzzled. He takes a step forward and holds up his hand, silencing his comrades, and he says, "I have been given orders to pillage any who sail these seas. It is my right. However," and he's basically ignoring everyone except for the two elves. "I would see that the two of you are brought safely to your kin. I would hate for something to cause a disagreement amongst the men and the elves."
That wouldn't be very convenient now, would it?
Why would that be? I'm sure you desire to go home to be able to be with your kin and partake in whatever it is that you do in those cursed forests.
What my dear friend means is she wouldn't like to see anything bad happening on either side.
That's exactly
She would like
what I
our
mean.
She would like our relationships to stay consistent.
Are the ships touching?
They're pretty close. They're probably like a foot and a half apart. The hooks obviously making connecting you so you can't leave, and then they're kind of holding their spot.
All right.
They kind of like
Odo
help close
steps
the gap
onto
a
the
bit.
ship in front of the captain.
No, hey now, hey.
He
Odo,
I
get
heard
back.
this!
I'm not saying I'm fighting.
he
Odo,
puts
get
his
back
hand.
here.
He
And
puts his hand on his
Lostariel is
axe.
radiating disapproval. Radiating.
He puts his hand on his axe and says, "What is the meaning of this?" And doesn't
Odo.
even look at
Pillage.
Odo, but actually is looking at Lostariel and Issel to see why this giant man has stepped up.
This is an error. Odo,
No,
step back out to the boat.
is not error. You say you plunder us? I like to see you try.
Lostariel is going to reach and take Odo by the wolf and pull him back. If I have to roll for it, I'll roll for
Do I
Athletic.
have to,
Athletics.
do I have to redo
Yep.
awe though? I mean, for this sort of thing.
You can redo awe.
I'm gonna also help Lostariel just pull Odo off because come on.
it. Yeah.
He said awe. I was.
I got
going
an
off your- I was
exactly
going off
14.
the insight. I'm gonna roll my my
Crap.
extra dice here too. For
Same. I'm going to roll
I'm
both
doing
of
the awe
mine.
test first.
I'm doing that too. 1 second,
While
y'all.
this is going on,
I'm
There
not.
we go.
Farmon is
doing
stringing
extra
his bow
dice.
and assuming
19
the,
for me.
So, can I just say, I think
Okay.
Tealia has a whole bunch of scones and just casually passing them out to the other crew as we're watching this. You know?
There we go.
So for the
There we go.
So for the odd test, you got a 14 plus a 6.
Okay.
Mine is 13 plus 5. When I, pull the athletics thing.
No, that was for odd. I
Um,
wasn't doing athletics yet.
He's fine.
Who's fine? What?
The captain.
What do you mean he's fine?
He rolled an eye.
He's not.
Oh.
What?
It doesn't work. He's not intimidated by you.
I hope.
Oh, so does it work for when I
Wait.
pull Odo back?
Can I use hope?
Can you hope? No, he rolled an
You
eye.
rolled an
Oh,
eye. It's
he
like a
ro- oh,
success.
That's what I was showing.
Ah, I
That's what
didn't
I was
see
showing.
that.
He rolled an eye.
Oh.
So he.
Can use
However,
hope if you want.
I do need you to make a wisdom check to see if you get shadow.
Oh, that's right. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, you didn't, did you?
No, I didn't.
This isn't D&D where you can do stuff like that and just get away with it.
Well, I was thinking some of the other encounters that happened in Lord of the Rings when they came across paths. You know,
Yes,
Might have
unfortunately,
gotten shadow too,
unfortunately, he has not been. You just barely pass. obtaining shadow from threatening this man who so far, other than your insight on him, has not been moving towards aggression. At this point,
Oh, and he lets them pull him. He doesn't resist his comrades pulling him.
the man looks at Lostariel, who has been doing most of the speaking, but he does give a fair amount of attention to Issel, again ignoring the rest of you on the boat, and says, "Then it is best if you come with me and my companions, and we will deliver you back to your people."
Back where exactly?
To our people in the forest, of course.
Yes.
Is there like some
You
kind
say-
of understanding passing between me and Issel right now that we're agreeing that we're going along with this plan?
I think this is the best way.
Okay. Indeed, yes. If you could safely deliver us there, then we would be most grateful, and we wish no trouble amongst you.
Hey, Dave.
Yes.
If people are ignoring me, can I try to get out of there and use my invisibracelet?
It will cost a point of hope for you to invisibracelet, but your eye awareness just reset because you triggered the rock. So,
Is that a yes?
or the storm, I should say. Yes, you could.
Okay, and that wouldn't attract a whole bunch of...
No, you would just disappear. No one is paying attention to you. All their eyes are on the two.
It's okay. Sauron, the Eye of Sauron is not going to come out from the sky and be like, "I see you."
You never know.
But yes, I will do that.
Okay, so you disappear from basically the sight of the men on the boat as well as your companions. The captain kind of steps over onto your boat and a couple of his men as well, and he says, "We'll go to shore, and then we will take you to your people." And with that, walks over to the helm and they unhook the hooks from your ship, and still following you slightly, he steers you towards the shore. Your boat lands on the shore, and the men on the horses sit there. Bows still ready in case you try anything, but not acting. And we will end it there for tonight.
Now, is he talking about just the elves, just conducting the elves?
I was gonna
I
ask
was-
that too.
I was literally gonna start saying like these guys are our guard, the little one is our cook, like they're ours.
Well,
I was
Yeah,
already
they're
We'll
escorting
get to
all
that.
of you.
Oh,
Very
that's not what I
all
thought.
prepped.
I thought it was like you're saying we're gonna escort them, and you guys will, chop liver.
no.
So
No,
that's why
I
I
don't
would
think
have stepped
so.
up because I was like, yeah, I don't.
No, I
think
don't
know-
think so.
Yeah.
I
No,
thought
no,
about
no.
that too at first, but then I kind of realized that maybe not. Maybe they are just going to take all of us.
Yeah, no, I
So,
wouldn't.
We're not just gonna peace out and leave you guys there.
No,
No,
we know
let's
that,
split
but
apart.
you know.
I mean, you say that.
so
It
I
would be
just
a
want to
boring
thank,
rest of the campaign, dude.
I just want to say thank you to everyone for watching, and again for sticking with us through the technical difficulties. We will be on next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday, with 6 o'clock on Facebook to kind of recap everything that has been happening. If you have questions or comments or just want to learn more about the One Ring. So thank you again very much for joining us.
Split the party.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.